All right, another week, another episode, rolling solo with just us this week. This is Shovick's Sports. I'm Cory.
And I am Austin.
I know we've had guests the last few times when we've done longer episodes. So we do two shows this week. We might have some guests join us Thursday. Matt and Timmy, they might join us to talk some schedule release type of stuff there. We're still working on getting Micah back on here. Obviously, internet booted out a couple weeks ago when we were trying to do a show with him, talk Bears. So, bro, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Kind of feels weird rolling solo on a show. We've had plenty of guests recently, and it's been thoroughly enjoyable, but gonna kind of get that solo feel back, and excited that there's some sports topics and stuff to kind of really dive into. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and we'll at the end of the show today, we're going to recap all that fun we had. 2.5 hour episode last week. Definitely not doing that today. We'll try to keep it to an hour. So we're going to bring back the Shovick Sports Hits this week. There's some news that's happened. So we're going to start with Shovick Sports Hit. Number 3, obviously the one, Derek Carr retires. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings on this. We actually are Derek Carr fans. I think he actually threw more touchdowns to the Chiefs or completions to the Chiefs than he did at the actual Raiders. But, there was a time where he was a really good quarterback for the Raiders. The year that he finished, I think, top 3 or 5 in the MVP voting, broke his leg or something, fractured his leg. And then they had to go. They got absolutely just ran by Texans that year. So give us your thoughts on Derek Carr.
Yeah, we are Derek Carr fans, but we're not blind to him. I think it was either this last season, or the year before. We were watching the Chiefs Saints games, and it was actually kind of a good game. It's like, damn, like Derek Carr and Patrick Mahomes are kind of going toe to toe. And you made the comment of, "Don't worry, there's going to be a Derek Carr moment." And we both, I immediately knew what he meant. And I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes later, he just sent some floater, like backhand straight over the middle for an interception. And I'm like, oh, there's that Derek Carr moment. So we are Derek Carr fans, though. Wish him nothing but the best. He's a good football mind, so wouldn't surprise me if he comes back to football in some capacity. But wish him nothing but the best. And, we could dive into, personally, I think he could have told the Saints sooner, but he could have, right? We don't know the conversations behind the door, so won't go too much into that. But wish him nothing but the best. And, it sucks that he kind of has to go out. Kind of a couple injury-riddled seasons, but still a good career overall.
Number 2, I mentioned this to you kind of off air, like just, and then I started thinking, I was like, damn, you're a Chiefs fan. I mean, and everybody who's a football fan in general. So number 2 on the sports hits tonight is Chiefsaholic sentenced to 32 years in prison. I think Xavier Berda or whatever.
Yeah.
Some weird dude. But obviously he was a huge super fan of the Chiefs. Sentenced to 32 years in prison. I think 15 to 17 of that is going to be what he's got left just in Oklahoma. But if you guys don't know the story, obviously the dude was a notorious bank robber. Just not a good person in general. And I know some people will say, typical Chiefs fan, but that's not the case. Like, what he was doing was wrong.
No, I'm going to say my comments may back up that statement, but I was like, honestly, give me 32 years for 3 Chiefs Super Bowls, right? That's how I'm looking at this. Like, I'll do 32 years if the Chiefs get another run like they just had. So,
well, unfortunately for him, he's not going to be able to see Patrick Mahomes play anymore. I think the best one I heard was on the radio this morning. Says he's absolutely going to be able to do the tush push for 32 years in prison. So Xavier, Chiefsaholic, enjoy the tush push.
Can we be honest though? The amount of banks he robbed to only get 32 years.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you have to pay things back and whatnot, but like, I don't want to say it's worth it or like say go try it. It's not that bad of a punishment, but at the same time, like, I would have expected a lot more.
Well, I mean, either way, 32 is 32, right? So, I mean, he's probably going to do more. I mean, there's no chance he gets out. So, for number 1 on the hits this week, news today, Pete Rose, ban lifted. Unfortunately, it happened after he passed away. And the description of that was he was banned while alive. and he's obviously not alive anymore. So lifetime ban. There's no longer life there, essentially, is what baseball's saying. So it was Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson,
and some others.
But if there was a part of me that could go back in time to an era to watch baseball, it's Pete Rose. Everything about the dude who played the game. We can take the betting aside, all right? Betting's betting. Pete Rose, the baseball player, was absolutely electric. Part of a great Reds organization back when the Reds were actually good at baseball. So Pete Rose gets his lifetime ban lifted. Hall of Fame.
It should be. Should have been in the Hall of Fame already. Big Pete Rose guy, always have been, always will be. And I mean, some of the older folks may have feelings on it, but like we're growing up now where, I mean, it's a topic tonight, but like there's a chance that like college players can just bet on their games. Like, so he's banned for something that like it's just a thing now, right? So I think if you just look at the baseball aspect, you're going to have a hard time saying many players were all around better than Pete Rose. Put the asterisk with it if you need to or whatever, but just from a baseball standpoint, I thought he should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. I hope that is the next step. I don't know if they're just lifting a ban and that's it. Like, we did this, we're good to go, or if they'll actually consider him for the Hall. So I think he should be, but that's because I already felt he should have been.
And I think if you do that, I mean, let's be honest. I think now we're past all the other stuff. Barry Bonds, get him in there. Like you need to get these guys in there, right? I think it's an absolute crime that Barry Bonds isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Look where we're at now. I'll go back to the steroid era where dudes are actually hitting 350 in tanks. Now we just see a lineup full of 220 hitters where you're striking out 15 plus times a game as a team. Like, it's their choice. It's their body. We'll go to that. We'll go political. It's their body, their choice, right? Like, if they want to take steroids and face the consequences for their own body, sure. But it was a more exciting brand of baseball, at least in the last 20 to 30 years.
And luckily, we were of age enough to see the Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa back and forth there, and what they were able to do. It's nice to see the Cubs have finally mended fence with Sammy Sosa. It's nice to see Sammy back in the dugout with the guys.
I'm still not sold that was Sammy Sosa.
Well,
I can't confirm. I never saw him and the other Sammy Sosa in the same room. So,
yeah. Either way, you got it. This is a step in the right direction, yes, but at the same time, Barry Bonds is the home run king. I mean, let's call it what it is. He has it. He deserves it. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So I think this is a step in the right direction. Get Pete Rose, get those guys in. I know baseball writers are a little more picky and stubborn with how they do their Hall of Fame voting. But there's also guys that get in the Hall of Fame that were kind of like, what?
Yeah, I think every year there's always that one or two players where like we're not trying to disrespect this player, but like they should be in the Hall of really, really good players. Like, I feel baseball more than any other sport, the Hall of Fame is kind of losing its edge a little bit, which is sad, right? You think like Cooperstown, like that's the thing. But I feel like more and more over the years, it's kind of, I don't want to say watered down, because like everyone who's been in there has been an absolutely incredible player. But I don't think that's what it takes to be a Hall of Famer. So yes, they are picky from steroids and other things, right? Where they're a little picky on, but at the end of the day, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, like all those dudes, they should be in there. I know I don't have as long a life as many, but like so far in my life, that was a very exciting time of baseball. We were actually super excited to tune into those home run races, to Barry Bonds' record. Like, those were the days. So we're at the point everyone knows they did steroids or did whatever else they did or did steroids. Can't prove it. But everyone knows. So, like, we see Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. There's going to already kind of be the universal asterisk, whether it's actually there or not.
Yeah, and I was a freshman in college the year he got the single season, or actually it was the all-time record against the Nationals, I believe. I was a freshman in college. I remember exactly what I was doing that night, weirdly enough, but that was a huge time. So again, like I said, we were able to see Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire do the race for the home run king for the year. We were able to see Barry Bonds do his thing for all of that. So again, I'm on board. I need Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. He should have already been in. I get the gambling and betting. don't bet on yourselves. But that's going to take us into our first topic tonight. So there was a report that I was listening to, I think it was Fox Sports News or Fox Sports Radio the other morning. They were saying that the NCAA had passed language, essentially, that's getting sent over to the D1 council for them to either make it a law or kind of go forth, that allows student athletes to bet on college games. I have a lot of thoughts on this. Obviously, we've always said players, they deserve to get paid, right? This is not the way to do this.
No, I think the first thing we still, and you just did it, still call them student athletes. These are no longer student athletes. These are semi-professionals, honestly, at this point, with just how sports are in college anymore. There's free agency. You have college front offices to negotiate contracts and money links. They're no longer student athletes. They can hang their hat and claim that they still care about that all they want. They don't. But then to the actual point, yeah, we'll beat the drum until we can't anymore about players deserving to get paid. This is not the given these 18, 19, 20-year-olds the opportunity to basically bet the money away that you're giving them. A, that's just irresponsible, setting up terrible lifelong habits to begin with. But B, it's too tempting for someone to just, especially with dudes at 7 different schools now, it'll be way too tempting to just be like, hey, friend at previous school, how do you guys feel this week? What's the scouting report like? You think I can just take the under on you getting 2 touchdowns and you make sure this happens for me? Again, it'd be naive to think that something like that won't happen along the way. It's just too tempting for them. Receiving all this money, placing money on themselves or previous teammates, and kind of just collaborating about it. So I don't know. It sets up way too many potential issues that will happen.
Yeah, because when they get to the NFL or pro, I mean, we literally just saw Porter, the guy NBA player who just got banned because he was literally throwing in games. He was telling another guy, and so that obviously they didn't learn their lesson on that one, because now, and it's going to suck because now a team's actually going to lose, but then they're going to say, well, so and so had an off day, but he's doing this usually. So now it's going to kind of take away,
Now the refs won't be the only ones getting blamed all the time.
well,
I'll tell you, my quarterback threw the game.
Yeah.
We got Paul Crew out here running quarterback. What's going on?
Yeah, and so again, when they get to the next level, obviously the NFL doesn't want them betting from facilities, right? Especially on other NFL games. I believe they can still do it for other sports, if I remember correctly. I could be completely wrong, so I don't want to get too deep into it and say anything that's not true. But because I think Jameson Williams was betting, but he was doing it inside the facility, which is why he got caught or busted with it. Obviously you had the Iowa State, 3 or 4 of those guys.
Yep.
Got caught doing it, got suspended. It kind of ruined, I think 2 or 3 of them were still in school at the time.
Yep.
Right. So, and then one was with the Broncos and he got suspended, and then all that other stuff, and had to get reinstated after a suspension. So again, there's nothing good that really can come out of this. I think if they're going to do it, they need to not half-ass it like they do everything else. They need to make sure it's have a program for it. Right. We're not saying just throw it out there and, hey, it's legal now. I mean, and don't just make it vague. That's what they typically do. That NCAA makes everything so vague where it's misleading, right? The wording of it gets confusing. So like it could be this, and the player's like, well, I see it or read it like this. Well, no, you didn't read it right, but they literally read it how you have it written. So again, I think it's a touchy topic, and I hope the D1 Council is smart enough to realize that it's not gonna work, and that they really need to reevaluate where they're going with that.
Yeah, I can't even believe it's getting taken to the council, honestly. I don't know if there's even enough points. Timmy, let's go. Absolutely. But I don't know if there's nothing really good that's going to come of this. You can-ish at the next level. Again, the NFL is not as vague. They are very strict and very outlined of what is and isn't acceptable. But I don't see why this needs to even be a topic for them. it's unnecessary. I think you're going to see more bad than good come of it. I think you're going to see a lot of these athletes ruin their chances because they have something like this available at their fingertips. So I hope you're right. I hope the council is. I hope they've already just like behind doors been like, this is stupid, not a chance type deal. But if this is something that becomes a reality in the next year or two, we've already called this the Wild West, and I don't know how much more wild we can go than the Wild West. But it's honestly not going to be pretty.
No, it's not. So let's move on to our next topic for the night. That was our discussion on the NCAA. Again, sent over some language to the D1 Council that would allow student athletes to start sports betting essentially on games. So that was kind of our thoughts on that. I posted a picture the other day, just for fun and curiosity, which QB will have a best sophomore season. And that was Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr. Before I go through answers that we have, because I put that in our sports podcasters group chat as well, kind of give us your thoughts on.
So I guess I want to just get clear on this. Is this who just in general has the best season, or who has the biggest leap from year one to year two?
I think we can go like just good season.
The best season in general?
Yeah.
Okay, then if that's the case, I'm going to go Bo Nix. If you listen to the AFC West Roundtable, I'm a firm believer in coaching. I still think Sean Payton's one of the top 1 to 3 offensive minds in the league. I know they probably could have done a little bit more for him offensively as far as things around him.
Where did our camera go? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. We got cut off.
Well, dadgummit. Anyway, I was saying Bo Nix. I'm just a firm believer in the coaching. I like Bo Nix a lot coming out of the draft to begin with. Pair him with a guy like Sean Payton. I don't think this is a sophomore slump situation. I trust Bo Nix and Sean Payton enough. I don't want to say it as a Chiefs fan, but if I just put that aside and just go as just a fan of someone who watches football, I would feel confident saying that Bo Nix will have a top 5 AFC quarterback rating to his name by the end of the season. Not the whole league, just AFC. So I think you just pencil in Josh, Lamar, and Patrick. 50-50 on Joe. If he plays the whole season, he's obviously in there. But after that, there's no reason I don't think Bo Nix is just right there, top 4 or 5 in the AFC.
Yeah, Timmy, you said you would message us. That way you don't spoil it for anyone. So if you're still watching, give us a comment on who you think. So going through some of these, I-75 Live, those guys are in our sports podcasting group. Go give them a follow on Instagram. They said it's all of the above an option. The league is just in good hands with the young talent of quarterbacks. And last year's class, I absolutely think they nailed that one. It is in good hands, just because if you watch the sample size from all 5 of those guys, even Drake May with the Patriots, he still showed signs, and I still think he might actually have the bigger leap this year.
Drake May will have the biggest leap. That's why I wanted clarity on that.
So if we're going leap, we obviously know how you feel about Drake May. Yes. I also think Drake May will have a big leap. And then our guys, the Cheese and Bear Pod, they obviously, Caleb Williams, and then Penix. We do think, I think we're both on board with thinking that Caleb Williams will also have a very good sophomore season as well. I'm still not quite sold on Michael Penix Jr. yet. Don't know with the Falcons and what they do offensively. He did show really good signs. He showed that he had the arm strength for it. It's just how can he command the offense? Are they going to get Bijan, more involved than what, I still think they don't use him completely how they should. But you never know going into year 2.
Yeah, and the reason I didn't say Caleb is I think it takes a little bit of time for him and Ben Johnson to get, simpatico. I mean, if you remember the Lions with Jared Goff, it took a while. But when it clicks, it'll click. So I don't, if they come out and click year 1, Caleb Williams will straight up just be an MVP candidate. Like if things are clicking week 1, which would obviously, that would be my answer. But I think it's going to take some time, which by the end of the year might hurt his overall season numbers compared to some of these other ones. That's the only reason I didn't say Caleb.
And then Cody, he put in our chat, he said Jaden Daniels would have to put up video game numbers to have a better season than his rookie season.
It's true.
And then, but he said from that list, he would also go Drake May. So again, we agree with Drake May. Then let's see, 3 guys, 6 balls. Shout out to those guys. Thanks for having me on last night. There's a fill-in. They also went with Drake May. So again, man, we had quite a few that were going. And then Adam B Sports also in there, Jaden Daniels. But if you can't pick him, then he'll say Caleb Williams.
Pick whoever you want.
You can pick whoever you want, buddy. He'll say Caleb Williams with that newly built O-line and additional weapons in Loveland and Luther Burden. Spot on. That is absolutely spot on. And that's what we would have talked to Micah about too. I was really excited to hear what Micah thought about the Loveland pickup. And then I think Luther Burden was a steal for the Bears right there. So again, what I'm getting from that is there's really not a wrong answer with that group. I think Penix would probably be the lower one, but then any of those other ones, you don't know how they'll fall in line, right? Like I don't know if Jaden Daniels has the same sophomore slump. And I think everyone's worried about that CJ Stroud type thing, but I don't know if they're all in the same situation that CJ Stroud was in.
Yeah, no, I think the consensus is, and Michael Penix, I want to make sure I say that right, Mr. MPJ, the fact that he would be number 5 for a lot of us, I think goes to show how good that this class is. I think Caleb, Drake May, and Bo, and Daniels, those 4, we're not even anymore talking about, are these just good draft picks? I mean, we're talking about all-pro potential MVP candidates, and we haven't even started year 2. I'm pretty confident at one point going into the draft last year when these were selected, we actually talked about how this might be one of the better quarterback classes we've ever seen. And I know it's early. A lot of things can happen, injuries, coaching changes, derailments. But I think this class is well on its way to being one of the best we've seen, if not ever, in a very long time.
Yeah, and
because we still got McCarthy.
You do have, and McCarthy wasn't on that list, but I guess
There's still a chance.
But I don't know if we count that. I mean, he'd still technically be a rookie.
Yeah, but I just meant out of that class in general.
Yeah.
There's still a 6th person who can throw his name into that and really just solidify this class as a whole.
And there were a lot of teams this year that were like, damn, we really could have used some of those quarterbacks from last year.
Yep.
Just think about those quarterbacks from this year tried to get in last year. I still think there's not much of a change, right? Like I don't think any of those I don't think Cam Ward jumps in there.
Cam Ward isn't a 1st-round pick in this draft.
I agree. So,
in that draft, sorry. Obviously, he's number 1 in this draft. In the Caleb Williams draft, Cam Ward's not a 1st-round pick.
Yeah. So again, and my thoughts on Bo Nix, I'm not going to dive too far into it. We'll get into the Broncos.
I did see a question that was interesting, and anybody who's watched this, I'm not saying this to really get Timmy fired up again, but I actually saw a question posted asking like who the better quarterback is going to be this year, and it was between Herbert and Bo Nix. And again, if you listen to the roundtable, I said I thought Justin Herbert is elite. I think that's a weird question that was even asked anyway. But it's weird to me that they're asking a dude going into his 6th year how you feel about him compared to a 2nd-year guy. I thought that was weird because as much shit as I gave Timmy and everything about the Chargers on our roundtable, and no offense to Bo Nix and how good I think he is going to be, I think right now that's really weird not to just think that Herbert is still better than Bo Nix at this point in their careers. It was just weird to see that question being posed, honestly.
And I think Tim, Cody, Matt, and I were talking in the group chat the other night, and I kind of said I still need to see more from Bo Nix in year 2 before I would put him over Herbert. So if that were a question you would pose, yeah, I would still say Justin Herbert at this point.
But it's weird that you would use what most consider one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Now this is, well, and he has Harbaugh now, so Harbaugh's supposed to be the guy that gets them over the hump. But at the same time, it's like, maybe. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I would still put Herbert over Bo Nix for now. Give me 2 or 3 weeks into the season, and then I might change my tune depending on obviously how the schedules lay out tomorrow and what and where the Broncos and Chargers may match up first, right? We obviously know it's Chiefs Chargers first game of the season, which I think Timmy picked Chargers by 4 in that one, which we won't make any predictions tonight. I just thought that was kind of funny because I was joking with Tim. We were on our way to the golf course when Timmy told us in the group chat that Chiefs Chargers in Brazil week 1. So I was like, Chiefs by 40. And I told him you said that. So.
I mean, maybe not 40, but I won't get into it.
Yeah.
We'll save that for when it's there. But
we'll save it.
yeah.
But I do think the Chargers are going to be better this year. I do. I think year 2 under Jim Harbaugh is going to be a lot different. But it's also year 2 with Sean Payton with Bo Nix as well. And we saw what Bo Nix was able to do as a rookie. Now you can say, well, now there's going to be more scouting on him, more this, more that. Did Denver do enough on the offensive side of the football to help Bo Nix out? Is RJ Harvey going to give them that run game that they absolutely desperately need? I mean, those are all questions that are going to go into the season, and we'll probably touch on that when we do our AFC West Roundtable episode 2 in a few weeks. So
yeah, and Daniels, Williams, and May, those are quarterbacks who got most improved around them already.
Yes.
With Daniels with the offensive line, getting Debo, they really solidified the things around him. Drake May, honestly, you could just stop at saying hiring Mike Grable, but they actually did go out, get a receiver, get some offensive line, got a running back. And then Caleb Williams, I mean, gosh, they nailed the draft, brought in best coaching candidate on the market. So those 3 had the most improvements around them. So year 1 was fun with these guys. Year 2 is going to be nuts, especially if MPJ and JJ McCarthy throw their hat in the ring to get up to their level. It's a beautiful crop of young quarterbacks, honestly.
Well, the nice thing is we know the AFC West and the NFC East play this year, so we'll see Jaden Daniels against Bo Nix. We'll see Jaden Daniels, Patrick Mahomes.
Jaden Daniels, Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno Smith. Yeah. Well, sorry, Raiders. If you listened to the AFC West Roundtable last week, we all actually gave the Raiders way more hype than you would probably think. What the hell? Are they actually Chiefs and Broncos fans, or were they actually like Raider fans? We're not Raider fans. We're not. But we do like what they were able to do. And again, if you watch this in the offseason, we were basically begging Pete Carroll to not go to the Raiders.
And then he did.
And then he did.
That's how it happens. So
and I guess if we had a trade-off as a Pete Carroll or Ben Johnson, I mean, sorry, Raiders. I know that some of you actually thought you had a chance to get Ben Johnson.
It's that Tom Brady effect, right?
It is that Tom Brady.
Once Tom Brady entered their building, they were like, anything is possible. And it's fair.
Yeah.
Tom is Tom, but Pete Carroll's not a bad one to walk away with.
Yeah. So one part, and we'll move on to our next topic after moving on from the sophomore QBs class. Good, exciting stuff coming this season from those quarterbacks. And hopefully all of them do take that leap because, again, you're seeing the passing of the torch, right? It's Mahomes, it's Josh Allen, it's Lamar, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, all those guys. Those groups of quarterbacks that we were just talking about, they have a chance to really solidify themselves with those guys. Now, they still have a ways to go before they're Patrick Mahomes and whatnot, but let's move on. We do know part of the Broncos schedule coming up this season. It's going to be a weird Christmas in the Shovick household.
Yeah, I kind of hope it goes how it goes last year. At least the field goal block game. That'd be really cool, but it's going to be interesting. Chiefs do usually get Raiders around Christmas, so it's usually like, hey, no worries for Christmas Day. Football's going to be enjoyable to watch. Might actually get a really good football game this year.
Well, if I remember correctly, this is going to be the primetime Christmas game.
Probably.
So you're going to have all the people at Arrowhead doing what they normally do. I'm sure our cousin will probably be there. His season tickets, he'll be there at 4 a.m. when they start getting in the lines, getting nice and warm with their pregame festivities. I'm not nervous. Typically, I would be nervous for a Broncos game in Arrowhead.
Yeah, I mean, I really got to see what the teams look like because
Christmas is still towards the back end of the season, so there's so much shit that can go on from week 1 all the way to Christmas. It is a Thursday night game, so that is nice that it's not a Tuesday now. You know, I know that was kind of a weird.
Those Tuesday, Wednesday games are always wrong.
Yeah, it was weird. But again, what better way to bring our household together than Chiefs Broncos on Christmas? If you watched any of our show after this last season, I really thought we were about to beat the Chiefs. Chiefs were undefeated. Bo Nix played a damn good game, did everything he had to do, and then they blocked field goal.
And that might be why I'm so gung-ho on Sean Payton and Bo Nix, just because I saw what a rookie quarterback was able to do coming into Arrowhead with the undefeated Chiefs as your opponent. Like, I think that might be like the starting point of where I was like, shit, this might be a good little duo in the AFC West.
I think for me, after that game, they were asking Steve Spagnuolo, who is obviously probably one of, if not the best defensive coordinator in the NFL, his thoughts on Bo Nix, and he was just like, this kid he's well above his time. Like, Sean Payton's not just going to trust anyone to do some of the shit he was doing. He's like, you would see, it was probably year 2 or 3 or 4 for Drew Brees, and he had Bo Nix out here doing these now. He's like, so he's ahead of his time. So again, I don't count the last game of the season. That was kind of irrelevant. It was nice to see them beat the brakes off of him, but then you're like, oh, wait, who are they playing? Carson Wentz, some of those guys. But again, I'm excited for Christmas Day. I know that it's going to be fun, and I know Denver traditionally hasn't fared well. Nathaniel Hackett was the last one for Christmas Day. Rams. Baker Mayfield, newly signed Baker Mayfield for the Rams, just absolutely destroyed the Broncos. It was like 50-something to 10 or something. Either way.
It was beautiful.
It was, because Hackett got fired not too long after that. So that was the start of something great for Denver. Do you want to talk about the Chiefs Chargers at all, or do you want to wait?
I mean, there's not a lot to say, right? Like, I think Chargers are the worst team in the AFC West, so I just don't think it's going to be much of a contest.
Yeah, well, we'll do that Thursday during the kind of the schedule releases tomorrow, right? So we'll get that. We'll digest that. We'll have Timmy and Matt on here hopefully with us Thursday that they'll help us break it down. I do want to recap some of the AFC West Roundtable. If you guys haven't had a chance to see any of that, I'm not asking you guys to go watch all 2.5 hours of it. If you do, awesome. If not, I absolutely understand why. We knew going into this episode for the AFC West Roundtable it was going to be a very, very long show. But when you're looking up in the corner and you see you're at almost 2.5 hours, and you're like, holy shit, that was a long episode. I hope you guys got as much enjoyment watching it as we did delivering it. If you guys don't already, go follow Matt, go follow Timmy, go follow Cody on Instagram and on YouTube. We are going to try to do multiple AFC West roundtables throughout the season. I think you had said quarterly. I kind of like the quarterly idea of it. So we did the first one, which was kind of like a draft recap of the AFC West. We gave grades. My brother got Timmy worked up a little bit. Timmy, you can say whatever you want to my brother. I did warn you guys, he says stuff way out of left field. If he feels like the flow is kind of going too good and too serious, he's just going to say something. We all thought he was joking. He, in fact, was not when he picked the Chargers to finish last in the West. I didn't see that coming at all. That was weird to me. It was wild.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't really see it coming either. And then I said it, and then I doubled down on it, and I'm like, I kind of got to just ride this out. But, yeah, I think just seeing Timmy's facial reaction on it actually made it so worth it. I've never met a Chargers fan before because I didn't know they existed. So now that I know one, it's going to be kind of nice to have a little back and forth with the Chargers fan. And that was the start of it. Like, at the very least, if you can just go catch that little part where it looks like someone just kicked Timmy straight in the stomach.
I remember, if I remember correctly, it was at the 1 hour, 48-minute mark.
Yep, you got it memorized.
I do, because I was trying to get the clip of it, because when you go to over 2.5 hours that we did, you weren't able to generate. It wasn't going to generate just random clips for you. So I'm scouring this long-ass transcript of when it was Timmy had a nice, beautiful delivery on how he thought it was going to be. And then I just say, go, and you said this, his facial reaction to it. everyone else's kind of reaction to his facial reaction and your reaction. So again, it was fun for us to do. That's something that I've been working on for the last few months, was trying to get a roundtable of, yes, we talk Chiefs Broncos, but we'll talk anything. But what better to do than bring in more people that follow the other AFC West teams that like talking about football. Timmy does an outstanding job. I encourage you guys to go watch his stuff. I know he just hit a huge milestone for himself on YouTube. So congrats to Timmy on that. He's getting ready to do a giveaway. So make sure you guys go find him on Instagram and make sure you guys follow his instructions and get part of his giveaway. I think he's doing a t-shirt with his logo on the front and then his saying on the back. It's absolutely awesome. Go follow Cody, Drew Code Sports. Again, he talks Raiders, but he also talks basketball. He also talks baseball. He does kind of everything, kind of like what we do, where it's not just football. And then Matt's kind of a third on our show whenever he wants to be on our show. He doesn't have YouTube. We've been trying to talk him into getting a YouTube. So Matt, if you're watching, we still want you to go get a YouTube. You can post your Broncos clips there. So go follow him on Instagram, OC News 365. And then again, Timmy, answer the call. Go follow those guys, because you're going to see us do more shows throughout the football season, and we're going to break it off into episodes. So the next one will probably be a training camp preview, and kind of breaking down position battles and what we're kind of expecting and looking for as far as that goes. And then we'll do one, hopefully it matches up where we're getting recaps after like a Chiefs Chargers game or a Chiefs Raiders game, just stuff like that. So,
and we can start taking some wild guesses on, what's Austin bringing out of left field today. Because it will happen. I think if you watch shows, leading up to the draft, Myles Garrett going to the Titans for the first pick, and like that's like what the best part of this is. You can just say whatever you want. Most of the time, you like to wholeheartedly believe it and be behind it, but sometimes you just say stuff where you just want to get a rock solid reaction and start conversation. But yeah, definitely go follow all of our peeps from the AFC West Roundtable. Always good stuff, good dialogue. Really excited to do that, as not as much as possible, because we could do one every night, like if we just put our hearts to it. But being able to provide just some AFC West topics, conversations, dialogue, debates, for what we believe to be the most competitive division of football going into the season.
Yeah, and make sure you guys come find us on Instagram. We're at 920 followers, 80 followers away from 1,000, which means we do the mystery box giveaway. Like we had said not too long ago, once we hit 1,000 followers, we'll have instructions on how to get signed up to win a mystery box. Inside that mystery box, you can find memorabilia, not none of our bobbleheads, but you'll find autographed memorabilia. It'll be authenticated. Anything. It's not going to be our choice. It's not going to be your choice. It's a mystery box.
Yeah, we won't even know what's in it.
The only time we're going to know what's in it is when you guys open it and you show us what's in it. Other than that, it's all, again, it's a mystery. So come find us on Instagram. I think we're over 400 followers on X now. So thank you to the new followers that we have over there on X. Once we hit 500, I think we may do a card giveaway. We haven't done one of those in a while. So again, we're going to put more focus onto the social medias, because now we're starting to gain some traction and we're starting to get some great followers like you guys. As always, if you want to come on the show or you want to get us on your show, just DM us on Instagram or X. We're more than happy to make time to come on your show or find time for you guys to come on our show. Once we get into football season, we'll add an episode. Tuesday nights will be a recap. Wednesday nights will be a preview, and kind of just go from there. Next week, I think Timmy's actually coming on next week to talk college football. It's almost college football time. I know Timmy's the Arkansas SEC guy, so we're KU guys.
Boo!
We're gonna talk college football next week. We do have a special episode coming up Thursday. On Thursday's episode, the schedules are going to be released. We're going to break it down for you guys. We're going to talk about some of our favorite matchups for the Chiefs and for the Broncos, and maybe just our favorite matchups in general, because again, there's going to be a lot of good matchups, primetime matchups. The NFL usually does a fairly decent job, minus Thursday night games, of getting those primetime matchups taken care of. We'll dive more into the Chiefs Broncos on Christmas. We'll talk Obviously, Timmy and my brother will talk Chiefs Chargers probably week 1.
Yeah, we're gonna have some beef. I just feel it.
If it actually happens, it's officially Chiefs Chargers week 1 in Brazil. It's a home game for the Chargers. We do know that. And then we'll just talk about how the Chiefs and Broncos schedule stacks up. Do I think the Broncos get to that 10-win mark or 11-win mark? Do the Chiefs repeat what they did last year, or is it going to be another tough sledding go? I'm looking at our ticker here at the bottom. Do the Cavs make it a series, or do the Pacers end it tonight?
I think Pacers win it.
So, and then I think the other one was the Thunder and Nugs tied 2-2.
I mean, obviously we want the Nuggets to win, but it's been a good series. I hope the Nuggets win. That's why I think the Thunder will win, but I want the Nuggets to win. Christian Brown, that's our dude.
Well, and Jokic too. I love Nikola Jokic.
Second best player on the Nugs.
He makes some of us look bad though, because obviously we're unathletic. He's
also 3.5 feet taller than us.
That's true. That he was blessed with at least size. So again, come find us on our social medias. We will interact with you guys. That's what it's about. If you have things you want to hear us talk about in the show, put it in the chat, DM us some topics. We'll put more topics out there to discuss with you guys. And we hope to see you guys Thursday night. Thank you.